Today, the commanders, command sergeants major, and first sergeants will uncase the colors of their respective units, marking the official homecoming for the division headquarters. The 1st Infantry Division headquarters deployed in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom in January 2010 and assumed command of the United States Division South on 2 February 2010. From 2 February 2010 until 31 August 2010, the 1st Infantry Division executed mission support to the Iraqi national elections in March 2010, conducted intensive sustainment operations resulting in the return of over $50 million of equipment into the Army inventory, and returned 24 U.S. military bases to the government of Iraq. From 1 September 2010 until 2 January 2011, the division played a major role in Operation New Dawn through continued sustainment and basing efforts, resulting in the return of an additional 8 U.S. military bases to the government of Iraq, and a continuing transition from Department of Defense missions to the Department of State mission in Basra. On 2 January 2011, the division officially passed command of the southern 9 Iraqi provinces to the 36th Infantry Division from the Texas National Guard and redeployed to Fort Riley, Kansas, where we continue to stand ready to answer our nation's call. At this time, Major General Brooks and Command Sergeant Major Champagne are adding 2 campaign streamers to the division colors, the tradition of Iraq and the Iraqi governance. These signify campaign streamers that the division participated while deployed. Ladies and gentlemen, the commanding general of the 1st Infantry Division at Fort Riley, Major General Vincent K. Brooks.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to first thank the division band, the CG's Mounted Color Guard, and the salute gathering which is outside in that cold air, providing the honors this morning. You all look and sound great, and you make it special for us to be back. Thanks for all you do to represent us every day. We are joined today by many distinguished guests. Let me first begin by saying thanks to Governor Sam Brownback and Senator Pat Roberts. Of course, it seems that we can't have any important ceremonies without a snowstorm in advance, but we certainly appreciate you honoring us by taking a journey to come here in the weather conditions and to be with us today. We're just honored by your presence. Our civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army, Emeritus, and his lovely wife, Judy, John Montgomery, we're just delighted to have you back. And we ordered this weather also to make sure you're certain that this is not Florida. We're delighted to have you here. 2 other distinguished local, state, and national elected officials or their representatives, all of whom serve as champions for the interests of Fort Riley in their official capacities and as our friends in their unofficial capacities. So we thank you for joining us today as the division headquarters symbolically and ceremonially returns from accomplishing our mission as we bring to a close another chapter of the history of this great division. Today marks the 5th time in the last 55 years that these colors, the colors of America's 1st Division in name and in fact, have been removed from their traveling case and opened at Fort Riley. Just as in 1955, 1970, 1991, and 2006, today in 2011, we again uncase and unfurl these gallant colors with new history, having been added to the colors since they were last seen here. Truly, Fort Riley is the home of the Big Red One. I want to take this opportunity also to say thanks to our community leaders, our neighbors, our friends, for your patience through the challenges of the last year and for your steadfast support, not only of the leadership here at Fort Riley, but all the efforts that I've highlighted, and also of our deployed soldiers and of our families who stayed behind in the Flint Hills while we were gone. when I say we truly could not have done what we did without you. You are our reason for doing what we do, and we are forever indebted to you. But we're even more joyous to be back with you again. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you would bear with me just a few more moments while I highlight what was accomplished by the soldiers who stand before you and all who served under the colors of the 1st Infantry Division in its role as United States Division South, responsible for all U.S. operations in the southern half of the country of Iraq, 9 of the 18 provinces of Iraq, an area positioned between Iran to the east, Kuwait to the south, and Saudi Arabia to the west, an area where ancient human history meets the future of the Middle East. Roughly 850 soldiers deployed from Fort Riley to fulfill this headquarters mission, which we officially began on the 2nd of February 2010 from our headquarters in Basra, the second largest city in Iraq. We commanded units from every part of our army, and we were augmented by Navy, Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard, and other government agency teammates, joined together as a pickup team that resembled an all-star team. The deployment was fast-paced, high-stakes, more psychological than physical, more offensive than defensive, more indirect than direct. An abbreviated way to describe our greatest accomplishment is to say that the Big Red One, as U.S. Division South, was a trusted partner to the Iraqi security forces, to 9 U.S. provincial reconstruction teams led by the Department of State, with participants from other agencies of the U.S. government, and to the other forces operating in Iraq, ensuring that the hard-earned stability emerging in Iraq would never drift away. Their success was our success. Despite repeated rocket attacks on our bases, ambushes against our vehicles, hundreds of hours of aerial flight, and the harsh conditions of extreme heat, biblical dust storms, and unforgiving military equipment. These are the soldiers who developed the intelligence to defeat the enemy network so that they found no sanctuary. These are the soldiers who planned the operations to provide the surveillance that supported the Iraqis, who then, on their own, arrested the violent extremists, who taught Iraqi investigators and judges how to gather evidence that led to convictions under the rule of law. These are the soldiers who established the satellite communications to reach everywhere, even places where no other army unit has been able to extend their communications. These are the soldiers who determined which Iraqis we should develop relationships with, to gain influence, who committed money like a weapon system to change the environment around us, who determined which projects would receive our attention and fought for successful completion and closure of 628 separate projects. And these are the soldiers who planned and executed the drawdown that ended Operation Iraqi Freedom and began Operation New Dawn, including the movement of 1,200 trucks, 14,000 other pieces of equipment, $286 million worth of U.S. property responsibly moved out of the country of Iraq, the closure of 30 of the 58 bases in southern Iraq in only 6 months, the conversion of a former prison complex into a logistics city for commercial enterprises to establish themselves. And so, ladies and gentlemen, these soldiers have truly added to the illustrious history of the Big Red One, and have earned these 2 streamers, these campaign streamers, which were just affixed to our colors a moment ago by Command Sergeant Major Champagne and myself. And I would ask you if you would please join me in a round of applause for our warriors. So thank you again for joining us today. May God continue to bless you all, and may His protection be with those who remain first.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the long motto call and the playing and singing of the Big Red One and Army song, and remain standing as the colors depart the floor.
The long motto call. From hell to victory. We are the fighting first. No mission too difficult. No sacrifice too great. Universe victory.
There is no better place for a soldier or a military family or a government civilian to be assigned than to Fort Riley. And that's because of the people in the Central Flint Hills and their support, their friendship. As we talked about, they're more than colleagues and partners. They're friends. And this is our home in the heartland. So it made a world of difference to us, and it was the basis upon which we were able to succeed.